oh, okay, I have to eat breakfast, eat lunch, eat dinner. Dude, that's a fucking huge psyop. I've talked about it before. People think that breakfast is this normal thing that is just everybody has always done. He was the guy behind cigarettes empowering women. Cigarettes to women are torches of freedom. So you need to evaluate, in my opinion, the source of the information that's telling you what you do, instead of just adopting that philosophy and those belief systems, and always asking, what is the source of the information? Why are they saying this? And is it true?
It seems like you're very consistent at learning.
Yes, brother. Learning is so important, brother.
How many hours a day?
Every day I read. Every single day I read.
How long for on average?
A book a week.
Okay.
Yeah. A book every single week.
What about podcasts and other things, or you just focus on the books?
So yes and no. So for example, the question is the host of the podcast. Why are they making the podcast? Are they making it for AdSense? Are they making it for growth? Are they making it for their own personal gain? Or are they doing it for some reason to like give? I love Joe Rogan. I think he's a G, right? He brings in a ton of guests that I like to listen to. But I want to gain an advantage in the marketplace by uncovering the information and the knowledge that is not mainstream. So I'll go to Yandex, which is like a Russian version of Google that is uncensored. And I'll go and like uncover books about the central bank and the history of money and things that are kind of banned and not allowed or censored or things of this nature. And I'll kind of study those things to have an advantage. If everybody's, no offense, right? If everybody's out here reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, what advantage do you have?
Yeah.
If everybody's reading How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, which is a great book, but what advantage do you have?
Yeah.
So you need to be able to acquire information and knowledge that will be able to set you apart. And that means that you have to explore for that information, like a library, right? You can't just go to the most, like the trending section. If you want to go to specific knowledge, you have to search.
How can you decide, okay, this might be legit, or no, this is just a ridiculous conspiracy theory? Because I've kind of gone down that rabbit hole a bit where I would watch a few videos on conspiracy theories, and I'm just thinking, like, as some of these people just making up these theories just to tell a good story and get views.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's two-sided. Like, there's conspiracy theories that I won't even entertain. Why? Well, for the simple fact that they don't benefit my life in any way, shape, or form, right? So people are talking about, oh, the earth is this shape or that shape. Okay, perfect. It doesn't matter if I live on an earth that's the shape of a fucking Dorito chip. Is it going to make any difference to my finances? Is it going to make any difference to my relationships? No. Okay, so I don't care about that, right? I don't care about how the Titanic sank or this bullshit submarine nonsense that was going on Twitter. Like, I don't care why, because it has no foundational difference to my life. How money works has a big impact on my life. How the educational system was conjured up, which is based on the Prussian school system to create workers and basically slave-minded bots. That's a conspiracy that ended up actually being true. So I want to study the things that will actually have a direct impact to the well-being of my life without rabbit trailing too far into, tinfoil hats and the frogs being gay, which, by the way, you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
Which, by the way, ended up being true. Because there's actually like chemicals in the water that are effeminizing frogs, which are probably also effeminizing women, but or men. But that's a conversation for that's a conversation for dinner. People that do water fast, and I experienced this. 2 days into your water fast, you start roaming the kitchen. Imagine how much mental real estate is occupied by eating.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, I have to eat breakfast, eat lunch, eat dinner. Dude, that's a fucking huge psyop. I've talked about it before. People think that breakfast is this normal thing that is just everybody has always done, but it's not. Edward Bernays, who's known as the father of propaganda, he's, I think, the uncle to the founder of Netflix, another propaganda machine. He created a campaign based off of breakfast. The meat industry came to him and said, hey, we're missing sales on sausages and bacon. We need to boost the sales of sausages and bacon. So he created this entire campaign and went to all the medical professionals and said, hey, let's start pushing breakfast being the healthiest, most essential meal of the day. And guess what happened to the sale of bacon and sausages? Skyrocketed. He did the exact same thing with what? Cigarettes. He was the guy behind cigarettes empowering women. So he built an entire campaign. We're talking about these myths of health, right? And he said, okay, the cigarette companies came to Edward Bernays and they're like, you know what? We need to boost our sales. I think it was Lucky. Lucky was the company back in the day. You've probably seen those old commercials Lucky. And the entire premise of the campaign was cigarettes to women are torches of freedom. So the entire campaign was, if you are a woman and you want the empowerment of being a woman and the freedom that comes with being a woman, smoke a cigarette. So what now? Health is correlated with breakfast. Women's empowerment is correlated with cigarettes. So how can you differentiate those? So you need to evaluate, in my opinion, the source of the information that's telling you what you do, instead of just adopting that philosophy and those belief systems, and always asking, what is the source of the information? Why are they saying this? And is it true?
Yeah. Nobody does any critical thinking anymore.
Nobody, brother.
People are just, whatever they see, they believe. I imagine you're a pretty well-traveled guy. You've been to a lot of places.
55 countries.
55. All right. I like to travel as well. I don't think
What's your favorite country, bro?
Oh, I think I've not been there yet. I think I would really like Japan. That's
Really,
on the list.
Bro, you would fucking go. You'd make some badass content.
Yeah, I know. Like every day would be a different video.
Yes.
I would imagine the places I like the most are the not the mainstream places. Not all the tourists go here, because it's all been documented and you already know so much about it. I like going places where I think this is different.
What's your favorite country in Europe? Because you've traveled Europe pretty heavy, huh?
There's still a lot of... I've not ventured into Eastern Europe. I've done a lot of Spain, Portugal's France,
pretty
Germany.
Nice, brother.
Croatia was cool.
Croatia's nice, brother.
Corsica was interesting.
Have you been to Greece?
I've been to a place, Crete, Chania. Yes. That was nice as well.
You should go to Greece, bro. Super sick. That's where all the ancient wisdom was. That's where all the Greek gods. That's where you belong, my brother Hercules. This guy, you messaged me, you're like, hey bro, I'm back in town. I'm like, you're like, who's back in town? I'm like, what? Hercules is back in town? So I went to the Parthenon in Greece, and I walk up the staircases. There's olive trees to my right, olive trees to my left. The breeze from the ocean kind of hitting the back of my head. And that's where the Stoics used to sit, and they would converse. And I would go up the stairs and the sun would beam through the big marble pillars. And I sat there